Do you trust someone who has already betrayed you from behind? Someone who smiles to your face but roots against you when you are not looking? Then pay close attention, because what I am going to reveal to you in this video changes everything. There is a moment, and it is closer than you imagine, in which all falsehood shall be exposed. Every mask will fall, and whoever betrayed you will reap in their own flesh the weight of that which they planted against you. This is not vengeance. This is spiritual law. And if you have arrived here, it was not by chance. You were guided to this video because you need to hear this now. Stay until the end, because I will show you the signs that this judgment has already begun in your life and what you need to do so as not to be dragged along with it. Let me ask you a sincere question. How many times in recent months have you felt that something was wrong with someone around you? It was nothing concrete. There was no clear proof, but you felt it. A restlessness in the chest, a heavy energy after a conversation that seemed normal, a malaise that you did not know how to explain. Perhaps you even commented to someone, "I do not know what it is, but there is something strange about this person." And do you know what happened? Probably someone told you it was something in your head, that you were exaggerating, that you needed to be less suspicious. But I will tell you one thing. Your intuition is not paranoia. What you felt was real, and science confirms this. Research in social neuroscience shows that the human brain possesses an extraordinary capacity to detect emotional incongruence. When someone says one thing but feels another, your limbic system captures facial micro-expressions, variations in the tone of voice, and even subtle changes in body posture. All of this happens in milliseconds, long before your rational mind processes any information. In other words, that discomfort you felt was not imagination. It was your body warning you, this person is not who they say they are. And here is where the matter becomes serious. Because in the spiritual universe, falsehood is not merely a character flaw. It is an energy of very low vibration that contaminates everything around it. It contaminates the work environment. It contaminates the Sunday lunch with the family. It contaminates the circle of friends. Have you ever entered a place and felt the heavy atmosphere without anyone having said anything? Probably there was someone there vibrating falsehood, and your body captured it before your mind. In Eastern traditions, they say that the lie corrodes the energetic field of the one who lies. In the Christian tradition, they say that there is nothing hidden that shall not come to be revealed. In Afro-Brazilian traditions, the mouth that lies creates a spiritual debt that charges dearly. Regardless of your belief, the principle is the same. Falsehood is unsustainable. It is like a dam with cracks. On the outside, it appears firm, but on the inside, the pressure increases every day. And when someone lives in this frequency of lies, of manipulation, of betrayal, no matter how much they pretend, there is a moment in which this accumulated energy explodes. The dam breaks, and when it breaks, there is no way to fix it. This is what many spiritual traditions call the judgment of falsehood. Before continuing, I need to ask you one thing. If this content is making sense to you, if you felt that this message is for your life, press the like button now. It seems simple, but this gesture helps this video reach other people who also need to hear this. And subscribe to the channel if you are not yet subscribed. Here we speak about real growth without illusion. Now let us go deeper. Think of your own history. Perhaps you have gone through one of the most common and most painful situations that exist in the daily life of the Brazilian. You worked hard on a project at the job, gave your best, stayed late, sacrificed the weekend, and someone else took the credit. The boss praised another person and you stayed there, swallowing dry because you needed the job. Or perhaps you trusted a friend of years, opened your life to them, told them your fears, your weaknesses, your most intimate dreams, and later discovered that this person was spreading your things around. They used what you told in confidence as a currency of exchange in conversation circles. Or worse, within your own family, someone you helped financially, whom you supported when they were in need, whom you protected when everyone turned their backs, speaking ill of you behind your back, wishing that your life would go wrong, feeling envy of your achievements. Research from Datafolha indicates that more than 60% of Brazilians above 35 years of age have already gone through some type of significant betrayal, be it at work, in friendship, in a relationship, or in the family. 60%. In other words, if you are watching this video and identified yourself, you are far from being the only one. This hurts. It hurts because it is not the betrayal itself that hurts the most. It is the sensation that you were a fool, that you gave love to someone who did not deserve it, that while you were there, with an open chest, investing your best, the other person was calculating how to use you, manipulating you like a piece in a game where only they knew the rules. And do you know what the Brazilian above 35 years generally does with this pain? They swallow it. They put a smile on their face. They go to work the next day as if nothing had happened. Because we were taught this way, let it be, God resolves it. It is no use fighting. In Brazil, there exists a culture of swallowing suffering and moving forward. We grow up hearing that strong people do not complain, that crying is weakness, that a man does not demonstrate pain, that a woman has to endure in silence, and we go on accumulating, layer upon layer of hurt, year after year. And in part, yes, it is true that it is no use fighting, but here is the error. Swallowing is not the same thing as overcoming, and ignoring is not the same thing as forgiving. When you swallow the pain without processing it, it does not disappear. It descends into the body. It becomes insomnia. It becomes gastritis. It becomes high blood pressure. It becomes back pain without an apparent cause. It becomes that knot in the throat that tightens when you are alone. It becomes that anxiety that appears out of nowhere at 3 in the morning, when everything is in silence and the mind does not stop. Psychosomatic medicine has already demonstrated in dozens of studies that the body stores unresolved emotions. Each emotion that you repress finds an organ to inhabit. And betrayal is one of the most toxic emotions that exists, because it directly attacks the base of your trust in the world. It destabilizes your sense of security. And when the human being loses the sensation of security, everything collapses. Sleep, digestion, immunity, mood, vital energy. But now I want you to understand an essential thing, and it is here that most people err. Pay attention. The judgment of falsehood is not something that you need to provoke. It is not you who needs to unmask the traitor. It is not you who needs to assemble a plan of vengeance. The universe does this, and it does it with a surgical precision that no human strategy can replicate. Think with me. Have you already noticed how the lives of false people at some moment collapse? It may take time. Sometimes it takes years, but it arrives. It is the marriage that implodes. It is the health that collapses. It is the reputation that plummets from one day to the next. It is that person who seemed to have everything, who exhibited a perfect life, and suddenly loses everything. This is not coincidence. This is vibrational consequence. And here goes something that perhaps will surprise you. Quantum physics, more specifically the study of the electromagnetic fields of the human heart, done by the Heart Math Institute in the United States, showed that the heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends to several meters of distance from the body. And this field carries emotional information. When a person lives in falsehood, in manipulation, in deceit, the field they emit is chaotic, disordered. And this field attracts situations of the same nature. It is as if the very energy of the lie created an invisible boomerang effect. Now pay attention to what comes next, because this is the most important of all. If the universe takes care of the judgment, what is your role in this story? Many people arrive at this point and think, so I just sit and wait? No, it is not that. Your role is the most difficult of all, and at the same time, the most liberating. Your role is to disconnect yourself emotionally from the traitor. It seems simple, but it is one of the most difficult things a human being can do, because when someone hurts you deeply, the natural tendency is to stay trapped to that person, thinking about them, imagining what they are doing, checking social networks, waiting for something bad to happen to them. And each time you do this, do you know what is happening? You are feeding the energetic bond between you. You are giving your vital energy, the energy that should be being used to build your life, to the one who destroyed you. And here I will give you the first practical key. Every time the image of this person comes to your mind, I want you to mentalize a thread of light connecting you to them. And then, consciously, mentalize a pair of scissors cutting this thread. Breathe deeply and say mentally, I release you, and I release myself from you. In the beginning, it will seem that it does not work, because the mind will bring the image back 5, 10, 20 times in the day, but each time you cut the thread, the connection weakens. In weeks, you will perceive that you think less of that person. In months, you will perceive that when you do think, you no longer feel pain. You feel indifference, and indifference is the sign that you have liberated yourself. This is not loose esotericism. Cognitive behavioral therapy uses a similar technique called cognitive restructuring, where the patient learns to interrupt repetitive thought patterns and replace them with new narratives. The mechanism is the same. You are reprogramming the way your brain responds to the emotional stimulus linked to that person. And now comes the second key. And this one is so powerful that it can completely transform your reality in the next 90 days. You need to redirect the energy that was trapped in the pain toward the construction of your new phase. What does this mean in practice? It means that all that anger, all that hurt, all that frustration, all of that is raw energy. It is fuel. The question is, where are you going to put this fuel? Most people put it into self-destruction. They eat too much, they drink too much, they work too much so as not to feel. They isolate themselves. But those who win, those who really turn the game, use this energy to build, to study that which they always wanted, to start that project that stayed in the drawer, to take care of the body, to change city, job, life. Think of how many success stories in Brazil were born from a great betrayal. The businessman who was bypassed by the partner and created a larger company, the woman who was humiliated by the husband and became a reference in the profession, the employee who was fired unjustly and built their own business, the solo mother who was abandoned and reinvented herself from zero, raised the children with dignity, and today is an example of strength in the entire community. How many of these stories do you know personally? I bet at least one. I bet. And it does not need to be a grandiose story. Sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply to return to smiling for real. It is being able to sleep an entire night without waking up with repetitive thoughts. It is looking to the future and feeling hope instead of fear. This is already victory. This is already transformation. The pain is not the end. The pain is the push, but only if you decide to transform it into action. The energy of anger, when directed, has an absurd creative power. It is fire, and fire can destroy a forest or heat an entire house. The choice is yours. And now let us speak about something that few people have the courage to address. The signs that the judgment has already begun in the life of the one who betrayed you. First sign, isolation. False people with time begin to be avoided, not in an abrupt way but gradual. People move away. Invitations decrease. Calls stop. Messages in the group stay without a response. Because falsehood has an energy that even those who do not understand spirituality feel, and instinctively they move away. It is like an instinct of social survival. People do not know how to explain why they moved away. They simply feel that they need to maintain distance. Second sign, repeated failure. When someone lives planting deceit, the doors begin to close. Projects do not move forward. Relationships undo themselves one after the other. Opportunities escape at the last minute. Promotions that seemed certain are cancelled. Businesses that were going to work out collapse without explanation. And the person does not understand why. They blame the government, they blame the economy, they blame bad luck, they blame the fat eye of others. But it is none of that. It is their own vibration that is blocking prosperity. Because the energy of the lie does not attract abundance. It attracts scarcity. Third sign, illness. This is the most serious and the most silent. The body of the false person becomes ill. And generally it becomes ill in the digestive system, which is linked to the center of personal power, to the third chakra, or in the cardiac system, which is linked to emotions, to the fourth chakra. Stomach problems, reflux, ulcer, irritable bowel syndrome, or arrhythmias, uncontrolled pressure, chest pains. I am not saying that every illness is caused by falsehood. It would be irresponsible on my part to affirm that. But when someone who lived years manipulating others, lying systematically, betraying the trust of those they loved, begins to have health problems without a clear medical explanation, many times it is the body collecting the bill. The body does not lie. It always speaks the truth that the mouth refuses to say. Fourth sign, and this one many people do not know, compulsive repetition. The false person begins to repeat the same errors, the same patterns, the same betrayals, as if they were trapped in a cycle. They change partners and repeat the behavior. They change jobs and create the same problems. They make new friendships and destroy them in the same way. It is as if life were trying to teach a lesson that they refuse to learn. And each time the cycle repeats, the consequences become heavier. If at this moment you are recognizing these signs in the life of someone who did you harm, tell me in the comments. Write, "I recognize." You do not need to give details. You do not need to expose anyone. But this act of recognizing is part of your process of liberation. It is you saying to the universe, "I understood the message. Now I want to speak directly to you. Look into my eyes, or rather listen to me with attention. You were not chosen to suffer. You were chosen to awaken through pain." There is an enormous difference between these two things. Whoever is chosen to suffer is a victim. Whoever is chosen to awaken through pain is a warrior. And a warrior is not the one who never falls. It is the one who falls, bleeds, cries, and rises. Once, twice, as many times as necessary. The betrayal that you lived was not a punishment. It was a filter. The universe used that situation to show you who is really by your side and who never was. And I know it hurts to lose people we loved. But think well. Did you really lose? Or were you delivered from someone who never deserved you? There is an ancient wisdom that says, "The truth is like a lion. You do not need to defend it. Let it loose. It defends itself." And it is exactly this that is happening in your life now. The truth is letting itself loose. The masks are falling, and you are in the center of this process not as a spectator, but as a protagonist. Now comes the third and last key, and perhaps the most difficult of all. You need to forgive yourself. Yes, forgive yourself. Because deep down, the greatest anger you feel is not toward the person who betrayed you. It is toward yourself, for having trusted, for having ignored the signs, for having given so many chances, for having believed in someone who did not deserve your faith. And this self-punishment is the most silent poison that exists, because it prevents you from trusting again, from loving again, from opening yourself again. It builds a wall around your heart that at the same time it protects you from pain, prevents you from receiving the love that the universe is trying to send you. The neuroscientist and psychologist Kristin Neff, who is a world reference in self-compassion, demonstrated in various studies that people who practice self-forgiveness have significantly lower levels of anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress. Forgiving oneself is not weakness. It is an act of radical courage. It is looking into the mirror and saying, "I did the best I could with what I knew at that moment, and it is all right." You are not a fool for having trusted. You are human, and prefer to be someone who trusts too much than someone who suspects everything. Because whoever suspects everything lives in a prison without bars, but with invisible walls that prevent any true connection. And whoever trusts, even knowing they can get hurt, lives in freedom, lives with an open chest, lives with the soul breathing. And I will tell you something that I took a long time to understand. Your capacity to trust is not your weakness, it is your greatest strength. Because in a world full of shielded, calculating, strategic people, whoever still has the courage to be transparent is rare. And what is rare is valuable. Do not let the betrayal of one person steal the most beautiful quality that exists in you. I want you to close your eyes for an instant. It can be now or after the video ends. Close your eyes and see yourself at 35, 40, 50 years old, sitting in your house on a Sunday morning. Everything quiet. You drink a coffee. Look through the window. And for the first time in a long time you feel peace. Not because everything worked out, not because life is perfect, but because you know that you survived, that you passed through the fire and did not turn to ash. You turned to gold. This image is not fantasy. It is your future. But it only happens if you decide today to let go of the weight, let go of the anger, let go of the need for human justice, and trust that there is a greater justice in operation. Now let me tell you something about the traitor, because I know part of you still wants to know what will happen to this person. They will reap, you can be certain, not because you wished it, not because someone cast a curse, not because you did spiritual work against them, but because this is the oldest law of the universe. Every action generates a reaction of the same intensity. Every seed produces fruit of its kind. Whoever planted lies will reap solitude. Whoever planted betrayal will reap abandonment. Whoever planted falsehood will reap unmasking. Whoever planted humiliation will reap humiliation. Life is an account that always closes. It may take time. It may seem that it will never arrive. But it arrives. And when it arrives complete. In Brazil, we have a popular saying that summarizes this with perfection. God delays but does not fail. And I would add, the universe delays but does not forget. Each act of malice stays registered in the energetic field of the one who practiced it. It is like a debt that goes on accumulating interest. And when the bill arrives, it comes with everything. And when that happens, you will be so far away, so healed, so renewed, that you will look back and you will feel something surprising. Compassion. Because when we heal for real, the anger goes away. And what stays is a silent understanding that that person is also suffering. They are trapped in a cycle that they themselves created. And while you evolved, they stayed spinning in the same place. I know that arriving at this point seems impossible now, principally if the wound is still fresh, but believe in me. And more than in me, believe in the process. Time, allied to your consciousness, transforms everything. And I will give you one last practical orientation before finishing. In the next 7 days, I want you to do a simple exercise. Every night, before sleeping, write on a paper. It can be in a notebook, it can be in the notepad of the cell phone. 3 true things about you. 3 qualities of yours. It does not matter if it seems silly. Write. I am loyal. I am a hard worker. I have a good heart. Do this for 7 days in a row. Do you know what will happen? You will begin to reconstruct the image that the betrayal destroyed. Because when someone deceives us, the first thing that dies is our self-esteem. We begin to doubt ourselves. Do I deserve this? Is there something wrong with me? And these 3 daily phrases are like bricks reconstructing your interior fortress. On the 7th day, read everything you wrote at once. I guarantee that you will be moved, because you will see, in black and white, that you are much more than the pain they made you feel. If this video touched you in some way, if you felt that this message was for your life, I need to ask you one thing. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. It can be on WhatsApp, it can be in the family group, it can be sending the link to that friend who is going through a difficult moment. Sometimes a message at the right moment saves a person, and you can be the instrument of that salvation. I also want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell, because this is only the beginning. We have much more content like this arriving, and I want you to be here for each one of them. Now let me close with something that I have carried with me for many years, and that I consider one of the greatest truths of human existence. The right person for you will never make you doubt your value. The right love will never humiliate you. True friendship will never stab you in the back. And if someone did this to you, that person was never right. They were necessary. Necessary to teach you the difference between who deserves your trust and who deserves your distance. The judgment of falsehood is not a concept. It is a reality in motion. And if you arrived until the end of this video, it is because you are already on the right side of this story, the side of those who chose the truth, the side of those who, even hurt, did not corrupt themselves, the side of those who, even betrayed, did not become a traitor. And that, my friend, is the greatest victory that exists. The truth always appears, the traitor is always banished, and the chosen one, which is you, always rises. We will see each other in the next video. Take care of your heart. It is the most precious good that you have.